Tell me right now. Okay, so I'll have to pick somebody to sit out, you're not volunteering. And by the way, for the next meeting, just while I'm thinking about it, we need all the regular members to show up.
Andy, I will not be at the next meeting.
That's unfortunate because regular
know.
members need to be at the next one.
I am going to be in Natchez, Mississippi.
Well, maybe you can zoom in from Mississippi. Anyway, you understand why.
Yes.
Yeah.
Elections.
Yeah, it's particularly since you're interested in one of those jobs. And we can't fill in with an alternate for that.
No.
Yeah, I know. All right, moving on. One of the things I have to do, besides recognize who's here from the board, is read a bunch of stuff. And so I'm going to start right now. And this has to do with how we run the meeting and how we give access. To allow public access, anyone may access a meeting by telephone and or Zoom or recording in the City of Norwalk YouTube channel, which trails this by 20 minutes or so. Specific instructions and links can be found at norwalkct.gov/meetings. Members of the public may call in to participate. Callers will not be able to see the meeting participants. Participants will be muted upon entering the meeting. To speak, dial 9 on the phone, and you will be called on by the host of the meeting during the public comment section. All speakers must state their name and address. Comments must be on a topic on the agenda. And there's really only one public meeting tonight. And are limited to 3 minutes. And I'll extend that if it's necessary. Anyone disrupting the orderly conduct of the meeting, including by using threatening, hateful, or sexually explicit language, will be removed. So if you're rude or lewd, you're gone. Please find the information using the link above. And that link is the one I just gave you, norwalk.gov/meetings. Members of the public who wish to provide live comments may also use the Zoom meeting platform. All participants will be muted upon entering the meeting, and I'm going to pause. Everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of puzzled people.
No, we're just rapt attention.
Yeah, sure. To speak, let's see. To speak, click the raise your hand indicator, and you will be called by the host of the meeting during the public comment section, which we've already said a few times. All speakers must state their name and address. Comments be on topic, and you're limited to 3 minutes unless I extend. Members of the public who wish to provide public comment are encouraged to submit those via email in advance of the meeting, and we have several. For these comments to be included in the record, they must be submitted by 12 p.m. the day of the meeting. You email Tammy Maldonado, tmaldonado@norwalkct.gov with the subject line public comment to provide written public comment prior to the meeting. And there's a long link, and I'm not going to read it. Basically, it means if you go in and check with the ZBA and what's pending, you can find all the documents. Number one, we're going to do the call to order, which I've already started when I was finding out which members were here. And then, which includes the roll call. Then we're going to do the public hearing. The one and only public hearing tonight is 250918-03, which is continued from last month. And at this point, I'm calling on the secretary to read the item and the staff report.
Sure. So we got a revised staff report from last meeting. The item is 25-0918-03, Teresa and Buell Duncan. Variance of table 4.3.1-C for, this was the side yard setback, but that's been struck. So the variance is for building height, 32 feet required, 38.5 feet proposed, and total building height of 40 feet is required and 46.8 feet is proposed. The building coverage variance has been struck. There's also a variance of section 6.9.5.d.1 to allow a reconstructed patio, add a rear deck, install planting beds, and build in the ground staircase, all within the required coastal buffer zone, which is 15 feet of the coastal jurisdiction line, to elevate and expand the single-family residence in CD1S zone and coastal area management overlay. The property is located at 6 Golden Court, District 6, Block 36, Lot 75. Request applicant seeks, I think we're down to one variance there, to allow elevation and expansion for an interior access staircase. Plan has been revised to remove the side extension for the staircase and side setback variance request to an existing single-family dwelling along with the variance to allow deck, patio, planting beds, and exterior access in the coastal buffer. Background: the original home was built in 1932. It's situated on a lot that is non-conforming, undersized lot, with an area of approximately 3,834 square feet. Previous variances were granted in 1953 for setback from the street line and side yard to enlarge the home and add a one-car garage. In 2021, variance was granted to allow an addition over the existing first floor footprint. Analysis and findings. This proposal includes elevating the home to make flood compliant with the current standards. While variances are not precedential, the board has identified the hardship for properties within the flood zone. In 2021, the hardship was previously identified as the undersized lot abutting coastal waters. The prohibition for work within 15 feet of the coastal jurisdiction line is a newer regulation to protect the shoreline from additional or expanded development. Please find attached coastal site plan review memo from Amelia Williams. Amelia indicates the activities do require coastal site plan review by the Planning and Zoning Commission. This application requires 2 separate decision motions. 1, the variance request, which must include the hardship declaration, and 2, the coastal site plan review, which must include the declaration that the proposal is or is not consistent with CCMA goals and policies and will or will not adversely impact any coastal resources. And then we have the attachment from Amelia Williams, which reads, upon review of our records and maps, it appears the property at 6 Golden Court is within 100 feet of coastal resources and entirely within the VE 15 flood zone. The applicant is proposing to raise an existing residence and construct a new addition for interior stairs. The applicant also proposes to reconstruct a patio, add a rear deck, and install new planting beds, and build a staircase within 15 feet of the coastal jurisdiction line. Per section 6.9.5.d.1 of the zoning regulations, while existing residences may be raised within 15 feet of the coastal jurisdiction line, no new construction or increase to the massing is permitted as of right. These activities require a separate coastal site plan review by the Planning and Zoning Commission with a referral to the Harbor Management Commission, as the property is within 50 feet of coastal resources, being bound by the Long Island Sound at the western rear of the property. However, any application for variance within the coastal area management boundary is required by statute to be reviewed for potential impacts to coastal resources by the board. The ZBA findings or motion must contain the statement that the proposal is or is not consistent with CCMA goals and policies and will or will not adversely impact any coastal resources. Thank you for the opportunity to comment. If you have any questions regarding the above, please email.
How do we do on letters?
You mean like how many did we get?
Make sure everybody who contacted us is listed verbally tonight.
Sure.
If their letter somehow is different than everybody else's, you might want to dive into it.
Sure.
And we have positive and we have negative, and we should differentiate between the two. So those in favor and those that are against.
Should we do that in the public comment section?
I like to get it done right at the beginning.
Okay. Do we want to do it before we hear like the updates or? Okay, I will read the letters. Tammy, it was 2 documents, right? There was the
Right.
one that had them all together and then there was one more.
And then a singular, yes, that's
Okay.
right.
Make them as brief as brief as you can.
Sure. So the first one's from Tim Gaylord. Before the recent meeting, I asked a neighbor to bring any property or house-related matters to me first rather than going directly to my mom. I was surprised to learn during the meeting that she had written a letter of support before having complete understanding of the plans. Okay, so just to clarify this for me, he doesn't list an address here, but I assume this is the adjacent neighbor, Tammy, is that right?
That's right. Lynn Gaylord is the author's mother, and I think he also lives on Belle Island.
Okay.
His concern was the AC units.
The AC unit,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I don't think he stated either pro or con. It'd be hard to summarize it.
It is.
Yeah.
I can just read it. I was surprised to learn during the meeting that she had written a letter of support before having a complete understanding of the plans. Neither she nor I is opposed to people making improvements to their homes. We support it, but she needs to be protected, and this includes a thorough understanding of what's going on. While several changes are not in line with my understanding of the plans, I would like to address one in particular. Given the ongoing AC compressor conflict between us and our neighbors on South Beach, it is unsettling to hear their architect's response, which my mother was aware of and approved regardless of the new elevated AC condenser in the same location. I feel that this was a blatant misrepresentation of her. We were told on several occasions that the AC units were going to be relocated to the other side of the house. To avoid any further confusion or misrepresentation by one of the representatives, we would appreciate it if documents requiring my mother's signature or her position could be shared, confirmed, and approved by either me or my sister before proceeding. This way we can be certain that mom is fully informed and that her best interests are being taken care of. I want to ensure that we're all on the same page moving forward and that the best interests of my mother are being served. Thank you for protecting her, the community, and the zoning laws protecting Norwalk. Tim Gaylord.
So Danielle, if it's any help, I've got a count of 5 in favor. Those
All right.
are Levinson, Angelakis, Topper, Madigan, and Gaylord.
Okay.
That's
Wait.
good.
That's not even the second one though.
I think there's a couple of nays in the bunch, but only a couple.
Okay.
The Thomas Juderbach.
Yeah, Thomas Juderbach is the second one I have here.
I don't know that you need to read my reply, but I included it because he had specific questions.
Should we hold off on that? I don't know about our responses back. I just need to know that people felt included, because often when we get into it, we give short shrift to the folks that wrote in, and I want to make sure that what they were doing is acknowledged, but I don't want to get in a debate. And so
The back and forth is tough.
yeah, we're not going to do that.
So
Just
Tom
that they did-
Juderbach in summary, I support the request to raise the building, but not the request to change the setbacks and coverage, which I believe are not in our community interests and may set a precedent for other property owners to challenge existing building guidelines.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Let me know when
Nate,
you're done.
You also had Terry.
There's
Atkins.
one more.
Terry
Atkins.
Atkins.
Terry Atkin.
Yeah.
In my view, the most objectionable is the enlargement of coverage. The proposed exterior stairs and deck increase on the coverage on a relatively small lot. It is important not to set a bad precedent for the Belle Island construction, from Terry Atkin. And then in support is Sandy Levinson and the Angelakises at 6 Golden Court, or at 38 and 46 South Beach Drive. Joe and Maureen Topper at 8 Golden Court. Madigan and Sandra B. Hart at 32 South Beach Drive. Lynn Gaylord at 2 Golden Court. And that's Michael Madigan again.
All set?
And Chris Megru, also in support. That's the one that came in late, I think.
Late, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, the people that'll participate as the panel of 5 will be myself, Danielle, Keith. Lee, you're gonna sit out for this one.
Okay,
And I'm not retaliating. Don't worry. And then I'm gonna need, with those 3, Ben Hanpeter and Steve Ferguson. Kathy, I didn't pick you because I almost always do pick you. So I want to make sure the other.
No, it
2
has to be
Mm.
Kathy. Steve's not here.
She's not here at all?
No,
thought you
Kathy is here. Steve is not.
All right, let's go back over it. To go through the list, Steve, Ben, and Kathy, who's here?
Steve is not here. Ben and Kathy are here.
Ben is what?
Ben
here.
is here. Kathy is here.
Okay. So with Steve out, that makes it kind of easy. So it's Andy, Danielle, Keith, Ben, and Kathy. We move on with that 5 on the board serving for the panel tonight. It's just 3 regular members and 2 alternates. I think we can have a pretty good meeting. So if it starts getting contentious at any point, I'm gonna just call a brief halt because I don't think it's necessary for this application to get carried away. With that, who's representing the applicant?
Hello there, Mr. Chairman, John Ryan.
Hi, John. Mr. Ryan was with us last month and
Yes,
made
sir.
a presentation, and I think we're ready to proceed. You might not want to be too repetitive, but there's certainly changes that were made last month to this month that you might want to highlight.
Yes, sir. And I know you want us to do self-intros again, so I will just say John J. Ryan of Council Russo and Rizzio, representing applicants, 5 Brook Street, Suite 2B, Darien, Connecticut. Howard Kelly, our architect, is next, and I'll let them go from there.
I'm Howard Kelly, Principal HK2 Architects LLC at 24 Buckingham Place in Norwalk, and I am the architect for the project. Azure, I see you. Do you want to?
Sure. Azure D. Sleiter, Principal with Race Coastal Engineering at 611 Access Road, Stratford, Connecticut, and I'm the coastal engineer on the project.
And I think Brett's the last one.
Yeah, hi, good morning, good evening. I'm Brett Holsworth with Redness and Mead Civil Engineering at 22 First Street, Stamford, Connecticut.
And the applicants.
Buell and Tracy Duncan, 6 Golden Court in Norwalk.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I think we got everybody.
All right, good.
Okay, so just a few, I agree with your comments. I will be non-repetitive and redundant, don't worry. But because this is a continued meeting, I have to say, as Ms. Maldonado knows, We do not do new neighbor notices, of course, because it's continued meetings. So, and the sign on the premises is, of course, still up. So just very preliminarily, in case there was someone who was not here last time, the big issue was, as Mr. Levy pointed out, there were some concerns about the addition and the variances for the addition with, getting close to the side yard, et cetera. As the secretary read from the memos, that issue is entirely out. And so I can say, as I said before, and of course, Mr. Kelly had to do some very creative re-engineering and redesign here to fit in the access to the premises, but that issue is completely out. So anything related to this application is
John, just
only
a second.
occasioned. What's the matter?
That was a variant request, and when we say it's completely out, it means that your request is not any longer valid, and the addition that was causing a lot of agita is no longer requested.
That's exactly correct. That was what I was going to say. Good telepathy. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And so the only remaining topic is occasioned by the FEMA compliance to raise the building. And I should point out, although I know Mr. Kelly will point this out much better than I will in his run through of the change in a second, there seems to be some confusion about coverage and height and the air conditioners, and he will clear that up because there should be no confusion about that. Again, we're increasing green space. We're decreasing impermeable surface area. We're not changing the footprint, et cetera. So, and there's confusion about the height topic because we are only moving the building up from the bottom up. There's not any addition to the top of the building for height. It's the minimum necessary adjustment, which Mr. Kelly will say. And why don't I stop and let Howard Kelly go through the updated plans?
Okay.
Thank you, Howard.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Chairman and the board, and Tammy for all the work leading up to this. As John mentioned, we took the comments from the last meeting and we worked diligently to massage our internal access staircase into the existing footprint. It took a bit of complexity, but it worked out, and we are no longer requesting an addition on the north side of the property. So that strikes the building site area increase variance from the record or from the requests, and the side yard setback reduction from the request. I will share the drawings if that's okay. Here we are. So I'll just walk everybody quickly through what we've edited. The edits are circled by these clouds on the drawing. And I'm going to go down to the massing first. So we are no longer requesting this addition to the north side of the house, as I just stated. We are simply requesting the increase in massing to lift the house up the minimum necessary amount. I'm going to go down to the floor plan just to show that the footprint shown here is the existing footprint. Here we've accommodated the new stairs down to the ground level within the existing footprint. And we've removed the addition at the lower level as well at the ground level that's being raised. So simply the building is the same size it always was in terms of footprint.
Mm-hmm.
Moving to the exterior views. On the left, on all these drawings, you have the existing. On the right, you have the proposed. So really the changes are to elevate the house to FEMA compliance and add a new access stair up at the front and at the rear.
Would you take a minute to tell us the total amount that you need to raise the house to be FEMA compliant?
Sure. So I'm going to go to the cross section, if that's helpful. Actually, no, I'll stay here on the elevation. It's easier to visualize. So the current first floor height of the house is 12.7 feet above sea level.
Okay.
So
Is that all the way across?
It does go up in the kitchen 2 steps, but we have to start from the minimum.
Okay.
So what we are doing is, as I'll walk everyone through how the height was arrived at. So as was stated by Tammy at the beginning or read out of the memo, this is the VE15 zone. So that comes from FEMA. And then Norwalk has stipulated that the bottom of the superstructure of the building must start 2 feet above your FEMA zone. So 15 plus 2 is 17. We've done a bunch of work with our structural engineer. We have existing floor joists and we're putting the thinnest possible steel beams that we can underneath. That resulted in a 1.8 foot total from the bottom of the superstructure to the first floor of the home. So therefore, we're requesting to lift from 12.7 feet to 18.8 feet, or 6.1 foot total of raise.
Okay, thank you.
Is that, hopefully I did not go too quickly. I can repeat it if anybody would like me to. Another topic.
It gets confusing because the FEMA standards vary across Norwalk.
Correct.
And they're a lot less in some places and more in some places. And exactly what they mean, most people don't know. I'm not going to take the time to explain it now, but I will later when we discuss it.
Sure. Another topic that we'd like to show on this elevation, this is the front of the home facing east, is, of course, currently the existing air conditioning units are on the north side of the home on the ground level. By FEMA requirement, again, we need to at least elevate them to the height of the first floor. They cannot be below that 18.8 feet, or really that 17 feet. That's the minimum required by the city of Norwalk. Rather than have a box hanging off the side of the house with the air conditioning on it, which is not very attractive for both the neighbors and anybody looking from Crescent Beach or South Beach, we've moved them. We will be, again, going through a little complexity here, moving them to the south side of the house up on the roof. And I can show a picture, if I may, of 8 Golden Court, which has the exact situation. So this is our property at number 6 on the right. This is number 8 on the left. His air conditioning faces us, and now our air conditioning will face him. And this is away from the maximum number of people possible because the large chimney on the back of 6 Golden Court will block it as well.
Good.
So we think that that's a best case scenario for subjecting the fewest number of people possible to air conditioning. I'll move through the rest of the elevations. This is the north side facing 2 Golden Court and facing toward the beach. Up here is the existing elevation. No real discernible changes other than the elevation and the new stair and deck access. Finally, at the rear of the home, this faces west. Again, lifting the home, this is the breakaway walls underneath, which are required by FEMA. To get back out of the house now, we're ending up about 7 feet above grade, so we provided a walkway and stair down. I want to be clear on that. I'm going to go to a markup of the existing survey. So currently that entire rear of the home, from the rear wall to the seawall, is paved. We are actually in this area here giving back about 100 square feet of green. The stair on top of it will actually float on top of it and be pervious beneath, so it's still a pervious surface. And then the new deck is really just a tier above that existing terrace. So the new deck and walkway is not resulting in any increase in pervious surface or other impacts like that. Similarly,
excuse me, when the opening statement was made, I think just a little boo-boo was stated that you were increasing the permeable area.
Decreasing,
correct.
Decreasing the permeable?
We are decreasing the permeable area in the net.
Okay.
No, it's decreasing impermeable.
I think
decreasing. That's hard to.
Yeah, I think we're screwing up permeable with impermeable.
Permeable is the ones that fall into the ground. We are increasing that.
Take out your iPhone and look up the definition. But anyway, moving on.
Okay.
We'll ask AI. And then other than that, I think I just wanted to show a couple more pictures of the home. So you can see here, this front yard as well is there's a little sitting terrace out here currently. We're actually also restoring a bunch of that to plantings, both for the owner's enjoyment and the neighborhood enjoyment, not to have so much paving in the front yard. And then finally, I have a photo of the existing side yard. So I'm going to draw an arrow on the screen. Those are the AC units that are currently on the ground level that we're relocating over here far from sight from the rest of the neighborhood.
Let me ask a quick question. I made
Sure.
an assumption in the last meeting, and I don't want it to be an assumption.
Okay.
There is a hedge that runs along the side of the property. Is that the applicant's hedge or is that the neighbor's hedge?
It is on the neighbor's property as far as I'm aware, because I believe our property line is pretty hard up against this paved
Okay.
area.
Right. That's what I
Yes.
thought, but I didn't want it to be
Yes.
an assumption.
Correct. So with that, I hand it back to John if we have any further topics to discuss or.
No, I wanted to make sure, which Mr. Kelly did. There was some confusion about the AC, that's covered. There was some confusion about the surface and the green space, that was covered. And again, he confirmed that we are not changing or increasing the footprint. I should point out for the record, because I know this is confusing if there are people who don't live on Bell Island, there's waterfront on both sides here, meaning both on the westward side and on the eastward side. So that is one of the particular problems why even if there wasn't a FEMA requirement, you've got to deal with that. So with that, let me stop unless members of the commission have questions of Mr. Kelly.
I already asked mine. Thank you.
Okay.
No board member has a question?
No questions from me.
Is there a before and after landscape plan? Or is
I
it
can show
kind
you
of
the
just
existing.
that survey?
I have just the survey. The landscaping is so minimal because, as I said, the back is entirely paved. There's a little bit of, you can see my screen, correct? There's like a little bit of greenery here around the entrance stairs. And so that's the part that we're increasing because right now it's just quite paved.
Okay.
Isn't there an engineered site plan that depicts the landscaping as well?
Yes, so we
Yes.
have here, we have a landscape plan of the proposed. I don't have one of the existing.
Oh, gotcha.
But of the proposed, this is the proposed plan. So these are I'm going to zoom in to the rear first. These are the new areas. So this is currently all paved just as a regular terrace. That's becoming bushes and greenery to provide some screening to the neighbor. And then here in the front, this is the area that's gaining plus some around the perimeter of the stairs that we currently don't have. That's all paved.
Sure. And your 15-foot encroachment is just on the backside.
Correct. That's that new regulation. I'm going to go to the new coastal jurisdiction line. You can see that it's pretty hard up against the back of the house. So no matter where we try to come down, we will be in that zone.
When you were talking about permeable, impermeable,
Mhm.
and you got the back patio, and I presume you may be redoing it. And is it poured concrete or what is it?
I believe there is poured concrete under there. Yes. Mhm.
And it exists now as poured concrete.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
Whatever it would be, whatever its current state is, we were just, the finish has beaten up over the decades of being on the water. We're just replacing the finished top
Yeah.
of it, really.
And the increase of permeable is attributable to the greenery that you're adding all around the edges. Okay, thanks. Anybody else?
I don't have any questions.
Good.
Ben, you're fine?
Yep.
Okay. Danielle, you're fine?
Yep, all good.
Keith, you're okay.
Yes, already said. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Briefly, I want to mention that though I dug into it last week in great depth, there is an average sea level and there is a point above that average sea level along our coastline and interior that is the expected flood level 100 year. And in Norwalk, we have the option, instead of going 1 foot above that in our requirement, have the option of going 2, according to the federal regulation. We've gone 2. So the 15-foot level that they had to raise to with the bottom of the first floor and any equipment and bracing is 17 because of our regulation. So that is clear to me, and that does affect the height that it needs to be raised. And I do not see a raise of enough to add a floor. So the worry that I did have is that it's possible that we're adding a floor. We're not. So I don't have that worry. I don't have a worry about exceeding the footprint. So I think we're all set to discuss it, which means at this point in time, it's just the board that's going to have the conversation and possibly with staff.
We
We
do
got to
have
get
some
the public
attendees.
if they're out. Wait a minute. We have to get the public if they're out there. Let's see if they have any pro or con comments.
Yeah, so we've got a hand up. So this is first we're going to take those who wish to speak in, well, you've already raised your hand, so I'm not sure. So normally we take if you could lower your hands for just a moment, and then okay, thank you. And then if you wish to speak in support of the application, raise your hand now.
Two raised?
Okay, we've got one raise. So this is Joe, and I will allow him to speak. Joe, you need to unmute. Yeah, there
I
you go.
did. I just unmuted it. This is my first time calling in. I live next door at 8 Golden Court. I owned 6 Golden Court, and I am extremely familiar with the issue that Buell and Tracy are talking about with the garage and entrance into the house. I fully support what they're doing. I am living in trepidation of ever rebuilding my house with a process that they're going through right now. And so I'm happy with the height that I have and everything else that is going on now. So as far as the air conditioning on that side of the building, that's the right place for it to go because it is opposite where mine is, and we can have noise canceling air conditioning units between each of us. So I think that's fine. The property is the property. I owned it for about 6 or 7 years and bought the property next door and sold it to them. They're great neighbors. And so I'm very happy for you to approve this so that they can stay good and happy neighbors next door to me. So I support the project. And it seems they've done a very good job of minimizing the issues.
All set?
Now I lower my hand.
Okay, we have one more. So
Participant.
a couple of people raised their hands. I don't know if, again, we're still doing support. So if you could lower your hand unless you're here in support. Okay, both the hands are still raised. So I'm going to go with the first one, which is Mike.
Move on. We'll figure
Mike?
it out if they're one way or the other. I don't think it's critical at the moment. Go
Gotcha.
ahead.
Mike, you can go ahead.
Hi, it's Mike Madigan. I live at 32 South Beach. I'm directly next, I'm one lot away from them. I think it's important that the height variance be waived because they are going to be now FEMA compliant and Norwalk compliant with the flood zone, which the house was originally when it was built, but it is not now. I think that's in the benefit of the community, and I support what they're trying to do, and it should be approved. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Tom and Jenny. You can go ahead, Tom. You have to unmute.
We lost you.
Tom, are you there?
I figure out how to get this thing to work. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So if you read my letter, thank you. If you read my letter, I want to support the raising of the building. I live 250 yards away across the bay. I face the exact same water conditions. And just like the neighbors, I support the height requirement. And so, it's fair that you recognize me to support that. And I do. By the way, I don't think this meeting is going to be contentious, Chairman. If I can just talk about my issues, if that's okay.
Sure.
when the variance request came out, there were three. One was height related, and there were maybe two height related. One was setback related, which has been changed, and the other was coverage related. And when you look at the public announcement, it said you were raising coverage from 35% to 44.4%. That was a 26.9% increase in coverage. And your public announcement still says that. I did the math and I calculated the decline in coverage that we would get from, taking away that outside staircase. And I still came up with about 41.2% of coverage against a 35% requirement. And so your public announcement, doesn't tell me, how I got to 41.2. And that's the issue and the confusion that I think that, I wanted to address.
You're entitled to an answer. So between our staff and the architect and crew, let's get an answer.
Tammy, would you like me to speak or would you like to?
Yeah, you didn't, let me understand this. You did not change the footprint of the building. It is what it was.
Correct. It's already non-conforming when we started the meeting. The public announcement, to Mr. Judebach's point, does not say the existing condition. It says the requirement and the proposed. So I could see someone understanding that to mean we're proposing an increase, but the current, on the survey, the current building site coverage or site area is that 41.2% that he calculated. That is correct. That's the existing condition and it's not changing.
Yeah, and that was confusing, and that's the reason why I wrote the letter, because I wanted to make sure it was addressed. So can you guys also just tell me when that proposal was approved by planning and zoning to go to 41.2%?
That exists. This lot is predates all of the zoning. This version of the zoning, the previous version, this house has been there since 1932, I believe we said. And so it exists, as many houses on Bell Island. It is over coverage.
So it was a historical condition, prior to, okay. Well,
Almost. There was a garage that was incorporated into the house, and that probably increased the coverage. And Tammy, that was 2000 and what? I've forgotten.
No, that was in the 50s, actually. That was the first variance. And then the second variance was in 2021. You're remembering that correctly. But that was in addition to the upper floor above the existing footprint.
Yeah,
so
it incorporated the garage, which was freestanding prior to that.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So that was when that 41.4 would have been created, 2021. It is not being increased in this request.
I understand. It wasn't clear to me. I asked you guys to look at it. I appreciate it. And you don't have any resistance from me. And,
Sure.
If you read my letter carefully, I did support the height. Just want to make sure that's on the record. And I understand the coverage. So thank you.
I'm still on it.
Who's next, Tammy?
There's no other raised hands.
No other raised hands? Okay, so I think it's time to go into
I'm listening.
our
I'm sorry,
discussion.
I can't. I'm trying to write an email.
Mike, you need to pull yourself off the air. Okay, so the five of us will discuss. Let me start with saying that the huge objection that I had was the addition to the side of the home that almost made it a zero lot line on that side. And I thought that that was A, inappropriate, B, an expansion that wasn't necessary. And I'm happy that it was removed and that they came up with another solution for the staircase. There were positive things in the plan. The increase of permeable versus impermeable. That location of the air conditioning is an improvement. And altogether, I think that the height raise is what's required by our zoning code. Anybody else?
I think this seems pretty straightforward now that they're staying within the footprint. I don't have any problems with it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Same here. I agree.
I agree. I have I mean, I'm wondering about the coastal jurisdiction
Mm-hmm.
like issue. And usually Amelia Williams like gives a little bit more of a take in her letter. This one seemed to really not say a lot other than it's happening. And asks, the ZBA to, weigh in on whether
Yeah.
that's appropriate for the coastal jurisdiction zone.
I think given
So-
the tiny spit of land this house is on, it's a little bit unavoidable. Like if
Yeah,
you're
if
gonna be
you
doing
didn't
anything, you're gonna
change-
be next to the water.
Yeah, Ben, if they didn't change really substantially from what they had, then it's been this way for a long time. And it is a spit of land and you can't change that. And since that house is there since 1932, and hasn't had the perimeter change much. The height has changed only. So I don't see a direct threat to the coast. If anybody else does, speak up. I don't see it.
Not so much.
Yeah, I agree with you, Andy. I mean, the house is just going up. It's only helping the water flow. It wouldn't hinder it at all.
Yeah.
I mean, they're building a new deck in the back that's over the existing patio, like it's not like they're putting in the new patio, but the deck is new.
Yeah.
Right, but the deck is elevated to the first floor level, which is FEMA compliant.
Yes,
It
but
has
the
to be.
deck has supports, I
Otherwise
presume.
it floats away. And we don't want that. So, anybody else? So this is going to be a short meeting. Hearing no one else, I'm going to make the motion that we approve the remaining variance. And I will make another motion after this one, dealing with the coastal management. So with respect to this one, is there a second?
I'll second.
I will second. Go ahead, Ben.
Ben seconds. So all in favor, say yes, that you're in favor and raise your hand.
Yes.
All right.
Aye.
Anybody against or abstaining? All right. And we asked Lee to abstain and he did. It was very kind of him because he was chairman when this last one went through and I'm sure he could offer information if he had stayed on. So with that said, it's approved and we want to talk about the coastal effects. And we're required to tell the Coastal Commission whether or not we think there would be an adverse effect by our approving this on coastal management, and I believe there is not. So I think we follow the coastal management regulations as closely as we can for an existing property. Anybody want to second a motion?
I'll
I will
second.
second that as well.
Kathy second. All in favor, hand up, say yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes. All right, good. None abstaining and there are no negatives, right? All right, good. So we're all set. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Thank you, team.
Thank you. Good evening.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tammy.
John, we'll see you.
Thank you.
Okay, we only have our own business to take care of. We have minutes. I'm trying to remember what's on the agenda.
Yeah, we just have the minutes, the September 18th minutes.
All right. Anybody have any corrections or problems with the minutes?
No.
Okay,
No.
hearing none, I move that we accept the minutes. A second?
Second.
I'll second.
Lee seconds. All in favor, raise your hands.
I
And thank you. to be clear, there's been some confusion about bringing one of the alternates on as a permanent member. The process I set up eons ago was to have people come on board as alternates and attend as many meetings as they could. And we didn't go through the rigorous process of, well, when there's a regular member who isn't going to make it, they have to contact and come up with an alternate. We don't do that. We do a more comprehensive way of doing it. And that gets them to the alternate to move along and get more knowledge and more experience much more quickly. And who do I compare it to? I compare it to planning and zoning. Planning and zoning only brings in, or used to only bring in the alternates when they needed one to replace a regular member. And therefore, the alternates had to be around several years before they got any real knowledge and experience. Liking what we do, I take usually somebody who's been around the longest in most cases, and or has previous experience in most cases, and is ready to go on to be a full member. Doesn't diminish the possibilities for anybody else, because as we lose a regular member, we need another alternate to step up. It's not an immediate process, obviously, but the longer you're around as an alternate, the more likely it is that you become a regular member if it's your choice to do so. I mean, this is not the cup of tea for everybody, but I do appreciate everybody's input and work, including that of the alternates. So in the meantime, I'm trying to get one alternate moved up by next month, and thus far it hasn't happened. So wish us best of luck. In my opinion, this board needs 5 regular members when there is availability of an alternate becoming a regular member, because then we better follow the statutes. All right, with that said, anybody else have comment for this evening, or jokes, either way?
I did have a couple of housekeeping things. So I was told to remind everyone that they need to get their city emails if they have not, because there will be a cutoff where I'm only allowed to communicate through city emails. This
They
has to be
suck.
FOIA.
They suck. We're constantly hit with emails about how we have to learn how to keep our email secure and go to sessions. And I've been through a couple, and I'm not going to anymore. This stuff is Junior League. I'm not exposing our people to that Junior League kind of stuff. This is almost stupidity. So I'm okay with going with the city email, but we can knock off all the requirements for training that they seemingly come up with, because a lot of it is just BS.
Oh, is that the Wiser training you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah, but they send it to you and tell you have to attend.
Yeah.
Bull.
Yeah.
Not necessary.
That protect you from scams, Andy.
Yeah, please. If you haven't figured that out by now, you don't own your home anymore, and you're probably ready to go to jail. So,
Tammy,
Okay,
is there a way to set up the email with IT like virtually, or do I have to go into City Hall?
according to them,
you
you
can do it
have
virtually. You don't have to go in. You can call them and ask them to help you, and they will do it. And they're
You
very
did it
good.
remotely?
They didn't ask me to come in. That might be because I've been around the city so long. I already had an email address in the city.
They were probably like, Andy, don't come in.
They probably, you're probably right.
I'm gonna try it though. I'll see.
I think they're smarter than you're giving them credit for.
So Andy already covered that voting is November, and then we'll also have to do calendar proposal that we'll need to vote on in December.
Yeah. Now the rules, and I don't know if it's a statute requires it or not, that we vote at 8 o'clock. We have traditionally held off voting, except for one time, until late in the evening when we're done. I'm open to doing it either at the opening of business. 8 o'clock is not a good idea. So either opening of business when we open at 7, or at the end of the evening, one or the other, we can do the voting, whatever you guys prefer. And it's the regular members only that vote for the chairman. In the past, I've always allowed non-regular members who are sitting on the panel that night to vote for the secretary, I have been told that's wrong. So as regular members voting for the secretary, regular members voting for the chairman. And the only people that can chair a meeting are regular members. I wouldn't do it that way, but hey, I didn't get to make the rules, so. Anybody else? They're all set? You want to do it first thing or you want to do it at the end of the evening? I already know where Danielle sits. She wants to do it first thing, but
I would say first thing, I mean, I'll try to log in wherever I am next month.
Are we?
See if that helps.
Are we all
would help.
regular members here today?
No, I'm not.
But
No, I mean, are all the regular members here today?
I'm regular.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I think we are,
Lee,
right?
Keith, Danielle,
Yeah.
and I are the
Yeah.
regular members. We only have 4. We don't have.
Given Lee's travel schedule, like, should we vote today or is there a
No.
reason we
No.
want to wait?
You have to wait for
It's
the
gotta
board.
be,
Oh,
got to be next
right.
month. It's just the time that's specified 8 o'clock is kind of ridiculous. So we'll either do it when we open, which is fine with me, because then Lee could log in and then get off and go do what he wants to do. And there's only 4 of us, so that's kind of why I was pushing Lee to attend.
Okay.
Sorry, I tried.
Message loud and clear.
Okay. And Danielle made her opinion well known, so we'll just get rid of me as quickly as we possibly can at the very first of next meeting.
I have a question. So why are there only 4 members? Because someone had to leave, basically?
No, when you have a resignation, typically we ask for the mayor's office to take one of the alternates and move them up. And we did that. There was confusion in the mayor's office about what we were asking and what board was asking. Because one of our members is actually on another board. And I was told that we had to get that person to submit their bio. And I told that person to do so. And the people in the office thought it referred to the other board. So with that confusion, we never had the regular member made. And so we're down 1.
But doesn't that just take an email to the mayor's office to fix it?
Yeah, that's exactly where we went to try to get it fixed.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, no, I was just saying, I mean,
Yeah, no, that's where you go to begin. And that's where, when it doesn't get done, you go back and say, how come it's not getting done? So. And the answer was, they're confused, we're confused, but we've unconfused ourselves.
understood. Thank you.
Sure.
So just for
that?
clarification, there's an alternate who wants to be full-time and there's an open spot. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not everybody wants to be full-time, and it's already been made clear to me by at least one of our alternates, they do not wish to do that. Doesn't mean that they can't change their mind somewhere down the line. The only, I think, burden on the chairman is not so much running the meeting, it's once a month. You have a very good staff. But the burden on the chairman is when the wacky people in the zoning commission come up with stuff that is just ridiculous. And you have to then go to the corporation council and explain what's going on and why you think it's absolutely wrong. And the initial impact is going to be, well, they don't agree with you. And then they will study it, and then they'll get back to you, and then you'll have to go around in circles for a few times. And then suddenly they'll say, oh, I see what you mean. And therefore, a chairman has to be knowledgeable of the statutes, has to be persistent. And just because somebody in zoning says roll over and die, you don't do it. All set.
I agree with that.
Thanks.
Motion to adjourn?
Oh, yeah. Let's have that
I'll make a
motion
motion.
from somebody.
All right.
Bye.
Well done.
Have a good
Andy.
evening,
Thank you.
everyone.
Yeah,
Ben, you
anybody
motion?
second? I second it.
I
Anyway,
did motion.
that's it.
I'm
Outta
in
here.
favor.
Good
In
night.
favor.
Hi, everybody.
We're unanimous. We're out of
Right.
here.
Night.
We'll see you guys November 20th. Thank you.
November 20. That's a wonderful time. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Tammy, stay on for a minute.
Yep.
Is there anything-
Wait, just a second. Let me end the recording, okay?
Sure.